Hi everyone, my name is Sultan, and today we're going to be talking about Windows servers, Ubuntu, the firewalls, and the IP tables. These are all going to be super important when using networking and system administration. Windows servers and Ubuntu are operating systems, or OS for short, that runs on servers, and Windows firewalls and IP tables are security tools that control network traffic. Within this presentation, I'm going to go over each one, how they're used, and compare each of them. So first, Windows servers are Microsoft's first server operating system, and it's mainly used in business and enterprise environments. One of the bigger things of Windows Server is used for Active Directory, which lets administrators manage users, computers, and permissions across a whole network. An example would be like instead of setting up each computer manually, everything can be controlled from one place. Can also Windows servers can also handle services like DNS, DHCP, and file and printer sharing, as well as web hosting using something called IIS. Now, one reason Windows servers is popular because it has a graphical interface, so you don't have to rely on only commands. But it does have PowerShell, which can be used for automation and more advanced tasks. Because Windows servers works really well on Windows PC, it's commonly used for for schools, offices, mainly any workplaces, any corporations and companies, and all that. With Ubuntu, which is a Linux-based operation system that is open source and free, which personally in my use, Ubuntu Linux is great. Linux is genuinely great. Probably the best OS I've ever used. And it's super convenient compared to Windows anyway. So let me continue on. It can be used as a desktop OS, but the Ubuntu server is more common in data centers and cloud systems. And a lot of these websites and cloud services, majority of them do actually run on Ubuntu. And Ubuntu uses a pack manager called apt, which makes it easy to install and update software using commands. For example, you can install a web server or a database server with just only one command. It's that simple. It's really short. It's really not many steps. Ubuntu is also known for being stable and secure, but it's mainly used for Apache, Nginx for web hosting, MySQL, and PostgreSQL for databases, and much more like that. There's also Docker and Kubernetes. I'm not sure how that's pronounced, for containers. And unlike Windows, the server for Windows, Ubuntu is mostly managed through command line, which gives you more control, though it does take a lot more time to learn. And it is a lot more, not only that, it is a lot more popular in cloud platforms like AWS and Microsoft Azure because it's lightweight and flexible. And though it does take a lot longer to learn Ubuntu or Linux, I think the payoff is genuinely worth it. It's a lot better than with Windows. So now, moving to Windows, the firewall is a built-in firewall on Windows systems, including the server. Its job is to control network traffic by either allowing or blocking connections based on certain rules. Now, it can either block or allow traffic based on the port numbers, IP addresses, any program or apps you use, and it's whenever the network can be public or private. An example can be like you could block everything except web traffic on ports, let's say ports 80 and I'll say 443, and only allowing certain programs to connect to the network or connect to the internet. Sorry. It also works together with Windows Defender, which adds another layer of security against any viruses or attacks. Windows Firewall has a graphical interface, so you can create rules without using commands, but you can also create advanced rules using PowerShell. Overall, Windows Firewall helps protect systems from hackers and unauthorized access. So moving on to IP tables, is a firewall tool used for Linux, like also also within Ubuntu as well. And unlike Windows firewall, is also mainly controlled. It is still mainly controlled through the command line, but it is way more, I guess, technical, you could say, which I can't disagree with. It is definitely more technical to Windows. Windows is a lot more easier compared to it, but I think it's still better to use Linux. It works by creating rules by matching network packets based on things like source and destination IP, port numbers, protocols like TCP and UDP. That's it. IP tables use changes such as input for any incoming traffic for the system, output for any traffic leaving the system, and forwarding to for traffic being routed. So like you can set up. So an example, you could set it up for only SSH, and web traffic are allowed, but everything else can be blocked. IP tables can be also used for NAT, which lets multiple devices share one public IP address. It is very, very, very powerful, but it's not. But if it is not, set up properly, you can accidentally block yourself out of the system, which is why it can be riskier to do, but that's why you need to practice a lot more within Linux or Ubuntu, both of them even. So between of these four, right? Comparing, let's do the servers first. So both are used as server operating systems, but they're just built for different types of users. So it really depends. I think it's a preference. Because Windows, it can be a lot easier, has a graphical interface, and it works best on, window-based networks, and it's a lot stronger with Active Directory. However, with Ubuntu, it is free and open source, and it is mostly command line based, which you will be using the terminal a lot. But it is incredibly flexible, and it is very popular on cloud environments. Now, of the firewalls, Windows firewalls is easier to use because of its GUI, and IP tables is a lot more powerful, but a lot more complicated. So while Windows tools focus more on ease, while Linux focuses on more flexibility and performance. Ultimately, this really only matters as a preference, not really. There's not really one is better than the other. It can lead to that, but it really depends. But ultimately, I think it's a preference, realistically. So here, my conclusion, to finish up everything, both are used properly as, operating systems. And what else they can be used in, they're used in real businesses, I'm sorry. They help protect data, they control who can access systems, and they are a big part of cybersecurity and networking. And depending which one you use really depends on, let's say, a budget. If you don't have as much of a larger budget, then you can work with Ubuntu, Linux. It's a lot. There is that option where it will take more time, but it's a lot less. It can be mixed with less to more risk, depending on the situation. And or you can use Windows, where it could be more costly, but it is a lot easier to manage. And it also matters how comfortable the administrator or the user is with each system. So with that, thank you for watching. This is my presentation, and I will see you guys next time in the next one. Peace out, y'all.